Howdy, House Users here, and as I said yesterday when I reviewed the Polar Express, it is time we review the recent adaptation of The Witches. This Roald Dahl's classic story, directed this time by my favourite director of all time, Robert Zemeckis. So, this means I should be impressed with it. Well, it's good. Look, I'm a huge fan of Roald Dahl, so I do have a problem. I am going to be nitpicky when I see things not right. But, look, might as well go over the premise. It's the same thing. A boy lives with his grandmother after his parents have died in an accident. His grandmother tells him about stories about witches, who are determined to eradicate all children in the world. To escape a witch that's been stalking them at the moment, they go to spend a weekend at this fancy hotel, but it turns out that the Grand High Witch of their area is actually staying at the hotel and holding a convention for the witches under a secret society. The boy catches wind that the witches plan on using a new potion to turn children into mice, and until getting turned to one himself. So with the help of his grandmother, as well as a kid who also got turned to a mouse named Bruno, he is determined to stop the witches from turning children into rodents. It's the same premise, but the main difference is this isn't set in Britain. This is actually set in America, and we're dealing with African American, and this is mostly an African American story. Now, I don't mind an update like this. I really don't. In fact, it's a unique take, and surprisingly, it does work. And the best thing about this is Octavia Spencer as the grandmother. She is fantastic. I think she's even better than the actor who played the grandmother in the 1990 movie. The backstory behind the grandmother and the witches is also a bit more relevant in this. In fact, it's not just a story. I mean, in the original film, in the 1990 film, all you get is a bit of a reference to the story when the Grand High Witch arrives at the hotel. In this case, it's actually a bit more threaded in, and does lead to the central conflict when the grandmother sees the Grand High Witch. And the best thing about this is, at the very least, it did stick to the original ending. The boy does not get turned back into a human at the very end just for a happy ending. No, he stays as a mouse and he's happy with it. That's what made the ending of the original so great, and why it got butchered, and it explains why Dahl and many other fans of the book felt it was butchered with the 1990 film, just because, it's so creepy, we need some sort of happy ending, so there you go. But it does come with problems. Let's start off with, well, I'm okay with the different sort of take in this. The book is very heavily based on the stories that Dahl heard as a kid about all these mythical creatures living in Norway. And it does sort of lose a bit of its Norwegian charm to it. I mean, yeah. But it still can work, but it does feel a little bit tough. I mean, even the 1990 film, for its problem, still kept its that sort of Norwegian folklore to it. It's also not as scary as the 1990 movie. I mean, that 1990 movie, even when I first watched it as an 11-year-old, definitely did freak me out. This isn't really anything to scare kids, and I mean, part of the reason is the CGI. It's really uncanny, and we've seen this stuff so many times. Why couldn't they bring back the puppetry? I mean, I know Jim Henson's no longer with us, but that's what made the original so good. Just these amazing puppetry, and being one of the last ever things he ever worked on. So it is disappointing to see that. And there are other things too. I mean, the transformation scene itself, when we see the characters transform into mice. Again, it's CGI. It's nothing to write home about. And the CGI done on the witches, oh gosh, they look so boring. I mean, as I said, the animatronic, what they did in the 1999 film is amazing. And actually feels like these are ugly, ugly witches. And I guess in some ways they're keeping true to what the illustrations of Quentin Blake, what the witches look like, but still. There are, and even some of the continuity. I mean, I don't recall the witches ever being able to fly in the original book. Nor do I think they were actually immune. They hated garlic. It's more vampires. So yeah, that's strange. And as I said, well, I like Octavia Spencer and some of the other actors in this. Anne Hathaway as the Grand High Witch. She is really, really corny. It is. I cannot take her seriously as this. I mean, Angelica Houston, I can see. She is perfect. She is the Grand High Witch. But Anne Hathaway, no, I don't see it. Just see Anne Hathaway trying to act scary. Same thing with Stanley Tucci as Mr. Stringer. Rowan Atkinson was perfectly cast as Mr. Stringer. And Stanley? Not so much. I mean, at least the child actors do a good job. But, as I said, well, it does keep true to the original story and the original ending. The ending does still have its own problems. I mean, Bruno goes back with his parents. He doesn't stay around with the kids just because his parents don't like that, like I say. And there's another kid now. He also got turned to a mouse beforehand. It's now the boy's pet, and strange. And Chris Rock is the narrator of this. He plays an older version of the boy as a mouse. Well, it is interesting. Here's the thing. It states in the book that the boy will in his mouse form will live for 6 years, and will die at the same time as his grandmother. I don't know how long time passed in between when Chris Rock's giving his seminar as a mouse. But surely the grandmother would have died, and he would have been, I don't know, sitting in a small rocking chair, you know? It's strange. But for what it is, I mean, it is still a decent adaptation. But yeah, I am still disappointed. I mean, somewhere in these two movies, you combine them together, you can actually confirm the best parts of each. You can have a really good adaptation of the book. So basically, combine, say the Jim Henson's puppetry work, Angelica Houston, Rowan Atkinson, and the Norwegian aspects, and from the first movie with the ending, Octavia Spencer, and the backstory at the very least, and combine it together, you've got a good product. But from the very least, we got something. I will also mention that Alan Silvestri's score in this isn't really that good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll spoil a bit of what he did with Avengers Endgame last year, but yeah, what can't you? But overall, it's still worth a shot, and I say, fans of Roald Dahl, give it a chance. You'll at least like that they kept the original ending. But in casual moviegoers, give it a shot. Give us a 6 out of 10 half stars. So what's next? Well, back onto Christmas reviews. Hopefully, I will also review The Croods: A New Beginning a little bit later, but just have to wait and see if I get to see it in time before the end of the year. But in the meantime, House Reviews is out. See you later for the next review. Ciao.